So around that time when it was going like 43rd or 44 or something to top 22, I was standing in line waiting to go in. We're at this point, we're just waiting to find out if you've made it to the live shows. And I have Carly Rae standing behind me. And she taps me on the shoulder. And she says, she goes, "Don't worry." She goes, "You're going to go through." At this, she's never heard me. Maybe she heard me sing the first night, but besides that, she's never really heard me sing. Or she goes, "You're going to make it through." I was like, okay. And never talked to this girl. And she goes, "You're either going to win or come in second place." This is what Carly Rae said to me. I was like, okay. Like, where's that coming from? And she goes, "I had a dream about you last night." She goes, "I had a dream about you, and the confetti's falling, and I can see you on stage, but I can't see the other person. So I don't know if it's you that wins or the person that's there, right?" It's like, all right. So then this kind of became our own secret. We didn't tell anybody on the show. So every time I would hit the bottom, and she was on the bottom 3 times as well. Every time I did make the bottom, I'd look at her kind of like, "What about your dream?"
Yeah. Where's the dream now?
Yeah, right. And she said she had a dream like that once before, and it came true, and it felt real. She just knew it. And sure enough, we get to top 3, and she's in the top 3 with me. And I said, "Well, maybe it's you. Maybe you can't see the other person because it's you that wins." And then sure enough, on top 3, she was out, and I ended up winning the show. But she told me this when there was 44 people on the show, and she predicted my win. It was insane. And she ended up talking about it after she got off the show. It's somewhere out there. But yeah, she's got good intuition, that girl.
That's amazing. It's crazy. She finishes third, I believe. She's the last female finalist on season 5. And, a few years later, she releases just an album in Canada, and it does pretty well. There was a couple of singles like Tug of War, something about a bucket. She had singles in Canada, kind of locally. And I went, and she was performing at a festival, and I went and said hi and talked to her, and like that, she was having quite a bit of success, but in Canada. And then there's the whole crazy, like Justin Bieber was back in Ontario at his grandparents. He was doing dishes, and this "Call Me Maybe" song comes on the radio, and it's only in Canada. Like, it's just a Canadian thing where the song's doing pretty well. And Bieber's like, "What is this song?" And he brings it to his manager, Scooter Braun, and says, "This could be a global hit." So they look into it and realize there's only the rights in Canada. Like, it's nowhere else. So they sign her and get the rights to everywhere but Canada. It goes on to it's one of the best-selling singles of all time. Like, it's diamond. It's sold like 13 million singles. And she's sold over 20 million albums since then. Like, it's unbelievable. And it's because, Bieber hears the song and then tweets about it. Like,
it's unbelievable. Yeah, it became like a trend.
Yeah.
Before TikTok had all those little dance videos and stuff, like they did it with Carly Rae's. And the thing was too, is "Call Me Maybe" was out for like almost 8 or 9 months. Like, the single was out in Canada, like you said, for a while. And it was doing all right. It was doing okay. And like you said, man, just a couple tweets and a couple videos on YouTube and stuff, and it just caught like wildfire. It was crazy to witness.
Yeah, it was the song of the summer for the summer that it came out. It's so crazy. So from your time with her on Idol, do you remember there being something special about her or about her talent? Could you feel that there was something there, some greatness? I remember the judges thinking, like, as a singer-songwriter, she's got something there, like a Carly Simon, or like a Carole King, or Joni Mitchell. Like, she had something unique, like not the Mariah Carey voice, but there's something going on there.
And that was her. That was her. Like, I think the more singer-songwriter thing is definitely close to her heart. She comes from like hippie parents, just fun, like peace and loving, like it kind of comes from that background. And I remember, when we were in the mansion they had we were living good there for a few weeks, and they had a racquetball court in the basement of this place, but the acoustics were incredible, right? So we would grab guitars, and I'd play a guitar, and her and I would just kind of mess around with some song ideas. And she always had songwriting chops, and was always a great writer, So when she came up with her first stuff, that really, to me, that felt like her, like, okay, like the very folky kind of Colby Collet kind of vibe to it, right? And now she's gone into, like, I think her last album was a little bit more like modern retro sort of vibe to it, very synthy and cool. So it's cool to see how she's evolved, but she definitely, like, she cuts her cloth from that singer songwriter world, like that Joni Mitchell uh vibe, So I could see her too. I could see her as she gets older. I could see her kind of going back to that a little bit, and trying some of that stuff.
Now that
But
she has that FU money, you don't have to do
yeah,
the pop
yeah,
hits anymore. You can kind of do what you want.
do what you want, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
a
we did.
few. Go
Sorry,
ahead.
go ahead. No, no, we did a tour for about 6 weeks after the show. We did the top three tour with her, myself, and JD, and we just kind of, yeah, she was just very focused, head in the books, you know, and doing her thing. So she was pretty focused at that show to try to make something of herself, and the momentum never really stopped for her.
A few albums ago for her, she put out an album called Emotion. It's
Yeah,
Emotion or Emotions, and that album is unbelievable. Like, it actually had universal credit. Like, it didn't have the hits like Call Me Maybe,
yeah,
or Good Time or whatever. It did well, but it didn't have that one smash hit. But the album as a whole was like
great.
universally critically acclaimed, and it showed up on all the lists. Like, when the Grammy nominations were announced, it showed up on every list for the Grammy snubs that it should have got a nomination
Yeah.
for, if not album of the year, like at least whatever, pop album of the year or one of the songs
I'll,
or something.
I'll,
It's
I'll,
amazing. I still listen to it all the time.
I'll tell you this. She knows what she wants, to the point when we were on the show that, and I'm not saying this as a knock, but to the point we were on the show, like, she would annoy the band, because she would be in there. We'd be waiting for our turn. She'd be in there for like an hour and a half, 2 hours with this band. But it was because she had all these ideas. I want this reggae style, and if we do this and we do that and we do this and we do, so there was no shortness of ideas creatively for her. So, like I said before, she really knows what she wants, and she has no problem working through every idea possible until she gets what she wants. And I think that's a mark of a really good songwriter.
Yeah, that's a professional right there. So
Yeah.
the judges had great things to say about Carly, but they also had great things to say about you. And I got a little surprise here. So I reached out to Canadian Idol judge Zach Warner,
Oh
and
no.
this is what he had to say about what he loves about Brian Melo. So he put, I think Brian loved being the underdog on the show, kind of like being the people's champion. He had this humility that I think was him that was with him from his family, from his hometown, that allowed the audience to relax and really listen to how talented he was. He has built a life in music the same way. So that's from Zach Warner.
Yeah, man. Thank you, Zach. That's really nice.
Gets you right
Yeah,
in the feels.
yeah, it does, man. That's super cool that you did that. Um, awesome, awesome. No, that's really nice of them to say. And I he's not wrong. He's not wrong, because I do like the pressure on me. I'm comfortable in that spot. I think I'm probably more uncomfortable when people are expecting these, like they have these high expectations. I'd rather you count me out. I'm one of those people that you can compliment me, and it'll motivate me to a certain extent. But if you tell me there's something that I can't do, I'm going to use that as fuel. I've always sort of been that way. And in Hamilton, man, it's like people used to make fun of our city all the time, and like they call us the armpit of Canada, and they always had all these jokes about Hamilton, and it's a smelly, stupid city, and it just there was a lot of ignorance, and I think being from a city like this, you can't help but have a chip on your shoulder, you know. And so for me, it was just trying to battle through it, and I'm a perfectionist for good and for bad. And I think, you know, like no one's gonna put a higher standard on me than myself, you know. So that really helped me along the way. But that's
That's
super cool, man. That's really nice.